In the know, nonstop Vikings talk. It's Purple Daily on Score North and ScoreNorth.com. Purple Daily, presented by Surly Brewing Company.
At first, was a little worried just because I didn't know the status of the injury. But, once we looked at the x-rays and, did different tests, they said it wasn't that bad. So after that, I was good.
Was it the contact with the ground that popped it out? Your shoulder out?
Yeah, just landing on it and just awkward placement, really.
Yeah, that's Justin Jefferson just talking about how he's a cyborg.
Yeah, seriously.
And not even the hardened Egan turf and Brashad Breeland can keep him down for long.
I wouldn't do this show for the rest of the year if I popped my AC joint.
You wouldn't even do this show.
Yeah,
Forget about football,
this.
right?
Forget about football. No, not at all.
Well, this is Purple Daily, Daily Vikings Entertainment, and it is presented by Surly Brewing Company from the TCL Studios. Enjoy more of what you love with TCL. And boys, let's waste no time. Let's get right into it. Write that down Wednesday.
Most make predictions and then never admit they're wrong. Yeah, that's not Mackie and Judd. This is the place where we just totally own our horrible predictions.
Write this down.
And eat them for breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Write that down.
It's Write That Down.
Write it down. You like writing things down.
With Mackie and Judd.
I'll throw this up on the screen for the YouTube audience. Boys, this is where we stick our necks out every single week, put our careers and reputations on the line. It is Write That Down and an accountability session. When are you guys going to admit that you were wrong? Well, every Wednesday. Unlike pretty much every other show in America.
That's correct.
Yeah, we keep a record of our predictions here. So here's how it works. 3 Vikings or football-related predictions each week from everybody. They must be quantifiable. We keep track of completion percentage and touchdowns for something that goes sort of above and beyond a standard correct prediction. And if you guys want to participate, Purple Daily community, you can send us a message through the Score North app. There's a feedback link at the bottom of the homepage that you can just tap that, send Declan a message, and we'll get you scheduled. It's a free app to download. It's a central hub for everything we do at Score North. Judd, you have maintained a completion percentage lead for the majority of the season. A lot of checkdowns, people complaining that you don't throw the ball down the field enough. So what do you have to say for yourself before we get to the accountability session here?
I thought I fell behind Dex like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah,
though,
I thought I was
said
in front.
for the majority of the season, though.
Majority of the season.
You know
Not
what?
acknowledging who's actually in first. Got it.
Yeah. Okay. I got a weak arm. I'm Brad Johnson, circa 2006 or 7. I got a weak arm. I'm savvy. I'm a veteran. I know what I'm doing. But if you're looking for the 9 route, get away from me because I'm not doing that. I'm checking down. I'm going West Coast, occasionally going deep, but not much. And as Dex said, he's in first place now. So that's all I got to say.
By the way, I really like the listener suggestion on our production meeting that we should maybe add this to both Write That Downs. If your check down misses, like if it's Judd's, 5 home runs for Miguel Sano by the end of the season over 50 games, you should get a strikeout or an INT. Like if it's a check down, Charlie, and you miss that prediction, I think we should quantify INTs or strikeouts.
Yeah, I mean,
like
I think
we have to agree on what's immediately agree on what's a check down.
This is something I think the committee should consider for the 2022 Write That Down season. We always consider new rules and additions or subtractions.
Do we need Phil to have more to do with this, though, is my question. Because this process already has to be a bear.
It's actually, if you set the spreadsheet up the right way, it's actually it's actually not that. I mean, it's definitely a lot of work. I mean, don't get me wrong. Yeah. I'm working my ass off over here. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's get to the first round here. And by the way, we're going to get to Nick. He's our guest listener predictor in just a couple of minutes. But the accountability session is presented by our friends at Brainerd International Raceway. So I believe starting today, in fact, the NHRA Lucas Oil Nationals. We're talking about cars going almost 330 miles per hour. And this is an amazing fan event access race for the entire week. You can get autographs. You can take pictures with the racers. You can just get up close and personal and see these cars going ridiculous speeds. Something for everyone. Check them out. Ticket and camping packages at BIRMN.com, Brainerd International Raceway. So here's the accountability session. Judd Zolgad, 2 things came off the board for you.
Oh, I think there'd be more. Okay.
You said KJ Osborne will catch at least 1 touchdown pass against the Broncos. Didn't happen. You said Jake Browning will throw for at least 2 touchdowns against the Broncos. Did not happen. Vikings did not score a touchdown.
Correct. Yep.
Correct.
Bad week. 0 for 2.
Bad week.
Okay. Ooh, a lot of
boy.
things came off the board for old Macadac here. I said Brian O'Neill will get a new contract by the start of camp. He didn't. What's the deal there? Is he going to get a new deal?
You know, they do.
Yeah.
They a lot of times in more recent years haven't announced the contract extensions, like the bigger ones, until right before the regular season.
Okay.
It feels like it used to be late July and the start of training camp, and then it transitioned to more, hey, the season's about to start, and like the Sunday or the Saturday before, we'll get the announcement on a contract. So I'd keep an eye out for him to still get a contract before the start of the season, which is September 12th in Cincy.
Yeah. All right, I had a parlay here. I said the Vikings would beat the Broncos and Jake Browning would run and or pass for at least 1 touchdown. And I said Aaron Rodgers will be named the full-time host of Jeopardy by the end of 2021. They named, was it like the executive producer, like named himself or something?
And it's 2 people, right? I think they're going to split it, and I don't think it was very popular.
Okay, but it's not.
I loved
Blossom. It's the executive producer and Blossom.
Got it. They did in 2016. Dan Patrick did Sports Jeopardy after like the Olympics were always done for the night, and they didn't bring that back for 2021. I'm all about Sports Jeopardy. I like DP doing some Sports Jeopardy. That's what I want.
Yeah, you know, it's probably like Aaron Rodgers probably cost $20 million, and Blossom probably cost like $500,000. So that was probably part of the equation.
Maya Bialik, I believe, is her name.
I said thank you. That's good trivia. I said the Vikings will win the coin toss against the Broncos.
Hey,
that's right. I said between 12 p.m. Friday and when he goes to sleep on Sunday, Judd will consume at least 9 Surly beers.
Correct.
Confirmed. Now, a couple people were saying I deserve a touchdown pass for this because I literally nailed the number of beers that you said.
It might have been more than
we
9.
asked you.
I said 9 or 10. It might have been 10.
Trust me, this is not a touchdown pass. Just
12, 13, 14.
Not 5, not 6,
not 6,
not 7.
It's the weekend, okay?
No, I'm right there with you.
I put down a whole 12-pack of seltzers on Saturday, so I feel you.
Yeah, for sure. No shame in our game.
No.
The training camp, I said that from training camp to the beginning of the regular season, Mike Zimmer will make some kind of comment that he's annoyed by a player not being at practice. He's made several comments about Darisaw, the COVID quarterbacks.
You cleared that one a while ago.
Yeah, he did.
And it's not a touchdown pass because it happens every year.
Yeah.
So listeners had nothing come off the board. Declan had a lot come off the board.
Oh,
Actually,
look at that.
Great week for Declan. You said Drew Lock and Teddy Bridgewater will each throw a touchdown pass against the Vikings.
My guys.
You said Darisaw will not play in the Vikings' first preseason game. I think this deserves a touchdown. You said Dalvin Cook, Adam Thielen, or Justin Jefferson will miss time in training camp with an injury. I mean, It wasn't like a likely thing that those guys would.
It's a nice red zone touchdown, yeah.
None of them are playing an actual preseason game, so we'll give you. Yeah, certainly wasn't a 50-yard bomb, but we'll give you a touchdown there. And you said BC Johnson or Chad Beebe will not make the 53. Well, BC's out.
Injured.
So
yep.
You might hit on both those. You did say Greg Joseph will miss his first field goal in the preseason because you have no #faith.
Nope.
He was 2 for 2.
I got bad news. Chad Beebe is on this team. He will not be right on that. BC,
I don't think that's bad news. Declan does. I think
Declan,
Chad Beebe as a 4th or 5th receiver. Like
I'm warning Declan. Chad Beebe is here to stay, and he's going to steal all your girlfriends eventually.
Yeah. No, there's no stealing with Chad Beebe's girlfriend. No. I'm tied down now, but no.
Yeah, until Chad Beebe meets her.
I'm sure she'll love that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't do crap anymore.
Yeah.
I'm tied down to the old ball and
How's your old
chain.
lady doing, Declan?
Yeah, if you want the Declan relationship update, go check out Mackie and Judd write that down from earlier today, where Declan's brother cashed in on it.
My life ceased being fun 2 weeks ago, but I got a girlfriend now.
Declan currently expanding his lead to 42% completions, 2 touchdowns.
Nice.
Judd at 34% completions, no touchdowns. Listeners, 33%, 2 touchdowns. And I'm at 33% as well with 5 touchdowns on the season. So there is the accountability session. Let's get our guy, guest listener predictor, Nick. This is the first time Nick has ever been a part of Write That Down. Nick, how are you, and what is your strategy today?
I am doing well. Thank you guys so much for having me here. I wish I had a Surly in front of me to join you guys, but can't do that during work. My strategy here is a little somewhat check down, and then I'm going deep with some broad season predictions here.
Nice.
Love it. And I'm really glad you brought up Surly because these predictions on the horizon are presented by Judd's favorite beverage, Surly Brewing Company.
Yeah, and Nick, you know what? I want to thank you and the people at Vikings practices and last night when I was in the press box at the Twins game, from the bottom of my heart, and just as importantly, Surly's heart as well. Everyone who comes up and yells, "Hey, Judd, I'm going home to have a Surly," or "Hey, Judd, where's your Surly Furious?" Well, I'm going to tell you right now, it's right here, and it's getting drank tonight. And I want you to share a Surly along with me. We'll cheers it long distance, because Surly, you know, Nick, I'm thinking right now, you do enough settling in life, right? Crack open a
Nick
Surly.
settles all the time.
Yeah,
Seriously.
so here's what you can do. Crack open a Surly Furious and enjoy the IPA that revolutionized Minnesota craft beer. Because, Nick, I want to tell you right now, don't settle, get Surly. How's that sound?
All right. Right on. So, Nick, you're going to make the first prediction, then over to Judd, Declan, back to me. 3 trips around the room. Fire away. Start us off. The first snap is yours, Nick.
So running back Kenny Ngwangu, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, will have at least the second most total touches of any running back over the final 8 weeks of the season.
Okay.
Ooh.
Do we? So final 8 weeks. So we're going to give him a little time to recover here. How bad is the injury, Judd? Do we have any idea?
We don't know. We were told after the game, of course, it's not bad, but I
That means
don't
amputation. So
trust.
yeah.
Exactly right.
It's just a tweak. Don't worry.
And he wasn't out there yesterday for practice, which is not surprising, but we don't know.
Yeah, Mike Zimmer called Tiger Woods' leg injury a tweak
Yeah.
in February too.
Oh, don't tell him that now. He's very touchy about that now too.
As he should be.
People
Call
are
it
making
tweak.
stuff up. Man.
Daniil Hunter hasn't played football in like 20 months, but it was just a tweak, everybody. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a bone sticking out of his neck. All right, Judd, your first prediction.
All right, my first prediction. Anthony Barr will miss at least 3 games for the Vikings during the regular season. He's already started off on the wrong foot, so to speak. He's missed a lot of practice time. The Vikings aren't saying what's wrong. You know what? I fear this, but I'm going to say he's going to miss Declan at least, so it might be more, at least 3 games during the regular season.
Okay.
You got it.
Yeah, there's already something.
Write this down.
There's just a weird vibe happening with this team right now. The Vikings always overcome the weird vibes, though, in the end. No, they don't. Declan, your first prediction.
Yeah, my first one. I'll get this off the board quickly here. The Vikings, write this down. The Vikings will bring in Josh Rosen for a workout this preseason. Josh Rosen was just cut by the Niners. The Vikings will bring in Josh Rosen for a workout. Write this down.
God, dude. So did you guys see Freezing Cold Takes found a Josh Rosen? This is I'm just going to read this out. The Freezing Cold Takes, old takes exposed Instagram. So they found 2 posts or quotes from Josh Rosen from right around the time he was drafted. Quote,
"Oh boy.
There were 9 mistakes made ahead of me, and I'm going to make sure they all know it was a mistake."
Oh.
And then somebody asked him about his career goals at the time, and he said, "I'd say 6 titles, but if Tom Brady gets a 6th, I'll say 7."
Dude, and I thought he was going to be pretty good.
Me too.
And it's just a disaster.
Yeah.
He might be done.
Write this down.
All right, write this down, and we'll definitely talk more about this later in the episode because the Vikings are working out Everson Griffen today. Everson Griffen on Twitter, he deleted it, but it's still out there. He called Kirk Cousins ass about 6-7 months ago. So write this down. The Vikings will sign Everson Griffen before the start of the regular season, and he will apologize for his comments about Kirk. So and to quantify that, it'll either be some sort of public apology, social media apology, or like a report that he addressed the team internally. Like, we will find out that he apologized for his comments about Kirk Cousins being,
Well, now,
quote,
Write this
ass.
Officially, he the same day that he tweeted that Kirk was ass, he did apologize.
But he's going to be asked about it again.
He's
And
gonna
this is the
apologize.
first time he's going to run
Okay.
into Kirk at some point.
Okay.
I don't know how you can just, like, walk up to Kirk at practice for the first time and be like, hey, buddy,
Kirk, so
how's it
you know-
going?
you know what?
Love you so much.
Kirk is one of the most oblivious people I've ever seen.
Kirk?
It won't be nearly as weird as we think.
Everson can say, listen, I'm sorry, I have fat fingers. I meant to say pass. You're such a great passer. You passed the ball. I don't know what happened there. The
Zimmer
P
didn't
button
want
on
him.
my phone's not working.
That's what Ev said in the tweet. Zimmer didn't want him. Ask who
Sometimes
did.
I love writing down these predictions because I literally he'll apologize for his comments about Kirk being ass. Like I absolutely love that. That is an actual quantifiable prediction.
You know, Everson could pretty easily walk up to Kirk and say, listen, I was just a little high-strung back then in February. Since I found Chill Boys, my demeanor is much softer now, okay?
yeah.
I just feel much more comfortable with that bamboo fabric, the most comfortable underwear and boxer briefs I've ever worn, Kirk. And so, if anything, my ass is feeling very chill because of Chill Boys and chillboys.com. One word from each of you guys to describe how Chill Boys are making you feel today.
Comfort.
Secure.
Oh, interesting.
Secure.
Yeah.
Secure.
Feathery is the word
Feathery.
I'm going to use here.
Okay.
If you want your pair, like many, many, many other Purple Daily listeners have found out the last few weeks, go to chillboys.com. Chillboys.com. All right.
Write that down.
I think we're back to Nick here.
Yeah. I'm glad you guys are wearing your Chill Boys today because I'm coming with a hot take here. The Vikings starting quarterback in week 1 of the 2022 season is not currently on the roster.
Ooh.
Okay.
Okay, off the record, do you care to speculate a little bit here? We won't hold you to it.
Yeah, I just don't. After that first game, I think Judd's been right this entire time that Mond's definitely a project. I think that they're going to see that he's not ready to go next year, and I think that things like Everson bringing back and stuff like that shows they're not invested in Kirk and don't care as much. So I think they'll move on. So I think maybe in the draft or a cheap bridge, free agent quarterback
Sure.
to take him into the future.
So
like
Vikings too, right? Bridge guy.
You know who I really want? My absolute pipe dream for Vikings quarterback next year and beyond? Andrew Luck. Has Andrew Luck taken enough time off yet? Like, has he distanced himself away from that crappy Colts team that he played for a few years ago?
Yeah.
He's not that old. He's like probably in his early 30s.
Mm-hmm.
He's got to be refreshed by now, right?
Oh, I can't wait for my.
I don't know. He wanted to play though. Like I don't. He's such a cerebral dude. I don't know that he really enjoyed it as much. But he is a great talent.
I can't wait for my Drew Lock jersey here next year. That'll be great.
Dude, you are just.
That's
Talk about
fire.
quarterback beer goggles, man. Declan Goff.
He was slinging it. Yes, him and Teddy were slinging it against those backups.
Yeah, against the third
Yeah,
string.
you didn't see the
cornerbacks.
You didn't see.
Look out.
The
There might be another
practices
Denver
when
Broncos
Teddy
prediction
was
coming later today.
Sailing the football through the air at the speed of a dead duck.
Back to Judd, your second prediction here.
Cam Dantzler will replace Rashad Breeland as the Vikings starting cornerback at some point this season. So, just to be clear, the regular season is going to open with the starting outside corners being Patrick Peterson and Rashad Breeland. At some point, both of those guys take a lot of penalties, and Breeland is really brash, which I sort of like for a corner, but I think he's going to do something to infuriate Zim. And they're going to give Cameron Dantzler another chance to start. So at some point this season, Dantzler will replace Breeland as a starting cornerback.
And so this injury would count too, right? Like
Yep.
if Breeland tears his ACL or something.
Sure. But I just think I think Breeland's style is going to he's going to take penalties, something that's going to make Zimmer mad.
Okay.
Write it down. You like writing things down.
Declan?
I will say for this preseason game against the Colts, write this down. Kellen Mond will throw the first touchdown pass in the Vikings and Colts game. So I don't know if Kellen Mond is starting
of either team.
Of either team. The first touchdown pass will come from Kellen Mond.
Okay.
Write this down.
Wow. Okay.
Yep.
Interesting.
Write it down. You like writing things down.
All right. Similar prediction here, at least the spirit of it. Write this down. Jake Browning and Kellen Mond, I think they're going to bounce back. They will combine for over 200 yards passing and at least 2 touchdowns rushing or passing. So if Mond runs one in, we're going to count that. So it's going to be a bounce back. 200-plus yards between the two of them, 2+ touchdowns rushing or passing between the two of them. Little parlay. I don't know if it's a touchdown, but it's like they should put up those numbers, quite frankly.
Write it down. You like writing things down.
All right. Back to Nate, your third and final prediction. Sorry, Nick, my bad.
Oh, it's okay.
All right, back to Roger.
Back to this guy.
Back to Bob.
Ooh. Patrick Peterson will receive a second contract with the Minnesota Vikings.
Ooh.
All right. Okay.
That'd be good news.
I think it would mean that he was pretty good this season.
Right.
Under the tutelage of
Nice
Mike
bounce
Zimmer.
back.
So since you've got this platform here, it's this life-changing moment here, this pinnacle moment. Is there anyone in your life that you'd like to thank that got you to this point?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, first, obligatorily, I'd like to thank my girlfriend, Rachel, who's been very supportive of me and is cheering me on today. And then second, I'd actually like to thank you guys. I'm not originally from Minnesota. I'm from Ohio and have been a longtime Vikings fan. And 1500 and Score North has been a mainstay in my fandom, going back to you guys or Gessling, Andrew Kramer, Collar. I've been a longtime listener, and you guys have always really kept me tapped into what's going on with the Vikings, and you guys do it fun. And I just really appreciate you guys and everything you do for the Vikings community.
Awesome, man. Well, Nick, thanks for coming on the show. We appreciate the kind words, and we'll get you on again sometime to take some more throws. All right.
It sounds great. Thank you, guys.
All right. That's Nick, guest listener, predictor. That was Fred, actually.
That was Bill.
Frank making some predictions right
I
there.
can't cast stones on that one.
Yeah.
When it comes to forgetting names, I can't.
Judd has people that he's worked with for 10 years.
can't-
Hello. Hello.
Hello, how are you? How are you
That
today?
is Judd's thing. It's the best when I have the door open and I hear him, hello, and he has no idea
How are
who
you
it
today?
is.
What do you do? Like, are you just off the street? Do you have a job here? I don't know.
Oh,
Hello.
it's amazing. All right. Back to Judd, your third and final prediction here.
All right. My third and final prediction is actually going to be a depth chart prediction that I hope to just speak into truth because it's so necessary. Wyatt Davis will be second on the Vikings depth chart at right guard by the start of the regular season.
Okay.
So Wyatt Davis. So right now he is still behind Dozier. So it's Oliudo, Dakota Dozier, Wyatt Davis. And if they're smart, they'll just cut Dakota Dozier. But even if they keep him, Wyatt Davis will be second by the first depth chart issued for the Bengals-Vikings game.
Okay.
Write this down.
All right, Dex, your final prediction.
All right, you know what? I'll just make my AFC team the Denver Broncos obviously this year, and I will make this quantifiable by saying the Denver Broncos will make the playoffs and the Chargers will not. So I'm gonna parlay this together a little bit and say the Denver Broncos will make the playoffs and the Chargers will not in 2021.
Okay. The AFC Vikings, I guess. Well, actually, I was swapping DMs with our guy Pulford Skoll, and we determined that the Titans are the AFC Vikings. Just very good all the time, but never like a true Super Bowl contender. They run the ball,
right?
But Denver could probably be in that.
Write this down.
Too. All right, although they did win a Super Bowl with Peyton Manning, so. All right, final prediction. Write this down. I'm going to go with a Wyatt Davis prediction as well. I'm going to take it a step further though. Write this down. Wyatt Davis will start at some point in the first 8 games. I don't know where. Maybe left guard, maybe right guard, maybe injury. We'll see.
So no position. Okay.
I was going to say he'll start at some point in the first 8 games.
He'll be the quarterback. He'll replace Kurt.
Punt returner. That's what he's going to do.
Yeah.
Actually, they might need a new holder if Mike Zimmer gets his way with Britton Colquitt. So there they are. Those are your write that down predictions and your accountability session here for the week on Purple Daily. We do have Judd's camp notes to get to, including Everson Griffen making a return to the Vikings practice facility. He's basically been standing outside the Twin Cities Orthopedic Performance Center with a boombox over his head for 6 months. Please take me back. Yep. But you know what? If he doesn't get that job with the Vikings, there's another way where he might be able to make a lot of money. The Minnesota State Lottery has a Vikings, not only one, but they've got a pair of Vikings games that you guys can get in on. And here are the details, all right? So $5 game that wins up to $100,000 Comes in a cool holographic design as well. And a $2 Skull game that wins up to $15,000 with great second chance prizes like Vikings tickets and merchandise. Just say I'm in to Vikings scratch games from the Minnesota Lottery. You must be 18 or older to play, which Everson is. You maybe go win six figures playing the Minnesota Vikings scratching. It'd be kind of fun.
Write this down.
So, all right, Judd, let's get to your camp observations here. Let's just start with Everson Griffen. Do you think this is legit? Are they legitimately about to bring Everson Griffen back in? Because this would signify that they don't like the right defensive ends that are playing across from Danielle Hunter, in my mind, right?
To a certain degree, absolutely. And kudos, because I believe the story was broken in tandem by our buddies downstairs at Channel 5 Eyewitness News, Doogie and Chris Long. I believe that they were the first to tweet last night that Griffen had indeed secured a tryout for the Vikings that is supposed to be conducted at some point, is probably where we are recording this, on Wednesday. I think that this is the fact that they have taken a long look now, and Danielle Hunter doesn't practice all the time, which, by the way, I'm not concerned about. I just think that they're being cautious there. And he didn't play, obviously, as the starters all didn't play on Saturday. And so Stephen Weatherly has been the starting right, and DJ Wanham right behind him. But on Saturday, for instance, with Danielle not playing, they play them at both ends. Here's my feeling. Weatherly's a nice rotational player, okay? And Carolina paid him last year. He got hurt. It didn't go well. He got let go. But I think he's a guy. I just think he's a guy. I don't think he's special. I think he is a guy that can be a part of a rotation. But you don't think of Weatherly and Hunter starting at ends. Wanham, I think, is developing, but he's not there yet. And so I think what the Vikings have done, and yes, we definitely can talk about what they're not doing on the offensive line by trying to bring in guys potentially for a look the same way that they're going to with Griffen. I think what the Vikings have done, though, is they have, and Zim in particular, he's seen that these guys at right end are just guys. He definitely is moving. Danielle Hunter is definitely playing more right end, but I think he wants a guy with a little bit more punch and power than what he's seeing. And the decision here is, let's at least take a look at Ev, who lives here, is in town, and see if there is something left. Now, I think at this point in his life and his career, he is probably a rotational player. I don't think he is a starter, but I think he's a guy that could definitely come in, give you third down snaps, give you a guy who knows how to rush. And here's the other variable that goes back to last year when Griffen was gone. And it starts with the Ngakoue trade, which was supposed to be eventually, Hunter at left end, Ngakoue at right end. It's going to be fantastic. Unique Ngakoue couldn't stop the run and didn't care about it. Stopping the run is obviously for ends incredibly important, but it's not the sexy thing, right? Like we always talk about, how many sacks did this guy get? How many sacks? We're all, and there's not a way, unless you dig down in the PFF stats, to quantify what a guy does at the end to stop the run, but it's obviously extremely important. Griffen can stop the run. So I wonder if what they're seeing from Weatherly and Wanham, it's not that they're bad players, but they don't stand out much. And so in Zim's mind, my guess is they have nothing to lose by taking a look at a guy that knows their system, has had success there. And from his stats in 2020, I mean, they're not great, but they're not awful.
I actually
not washed up necessarily.
So his numbers are actually, if you look at, you can look at just the sack totals, and he did have, according to PFF, they credit him with 7 sacks on the season, and he only played about half of the overall snaps that you would play. So, a full slate of snaps, like Chase Young for Washington played 800 snaps last year. J.J. Watt for Houston played 1,000 snaps. There's between 800 and 1,000 snaps available for guys who are every down players. He played about 500 last year, and he was among all edge rushers, according to Pro Football Focus. He was 30th in pass rushing grade. So he was a good pass rusher last year. He had 33 total pressures, which is right kind of in line with if you play a full season like he used to in his prime. It's kind of in line with his usual pass rushing rate. So and like you said, he's not just averse to also covering the run. I don't think you'd bring him in here as an every down guy, but maybe kind of going back full circle to his initial role in the Vikings defense. Maybe he's a pass rushing specialist on third downs. And to me, the biggest questions would be, A, what does this flirtation with Everson say about the rest of the defensive ends and how they're performing or not in the first 3 weeks of camp? It doesn't necessarily speak high. Like, if they loved their options, they wouldn't be doing this. 2, how stable is Everson physically, mentally, everything, right? Like, he's been through a lot, and he's a really emotional guy who's gone through some personal problems, and, like, where is he at in his life would be another question. And then 3, I don't know if this is, like, the deal breaker, but, he called out the starting quarterback pretty publicly. He called him ass, and so there does need to be some sort of a discussion there. Like, if it's going to cause too much turmoil, that is your starting quarterback, love him or hate him. And you got to find a way to keep the chemistry and keep the cohesiveness in that locker room. So I would check on that if I were the Vikings first.
So let's delve into that, because that's a really interesting dynamic right now. And I'm going to tell you, so it's difficult because Kirk is oblivious, but yet sensitive, which is a really weird combination. So I'm all for not alienating him as much as possible, because the more that you do, I think the worse he gets, because mentally he can't process it. That being said, keep in mind, we've never sensed that Kirk has been loved in that locker room pre-pandemic and pre-whatever we want to talk about vaccination-wise. But clearly this is, to me, Zimmer and the Vikings saying, if we can improve the team at all, we're not really concerned about Kirk. And in Mike's mind, and he's probably right, it's probably partially based on because Kirk's not really concerned about us. Like, I'm trying to make this team as good as possible. The better my defense is, the more chance I'm giving my team to win games in Mike's mind. And if the quarterback's going to think of himself first, why am I going to think of my QB first? Yeah. Let's go through the tweets, though, from January when Ev tweeted. And I looked it up last night and actually posted a story about it on scorenorth.com. The interesting thing about these tweets is they started at like 7:40 in the morning. So this is not like a late night where something was going on. This appears he woke up and tweeted this. It doesn't mean that he certainly was not emotional.
And he was responding to a fan question, right?
I think that's right. Right. So his first tweet, as you said, Phil, is Kirk Cousins' ass. And he told people to, quote, ask Zimmer if he wanted Kirk with 5 question marks. And then he finished the thread with, he will tell you the truth question. Dude. Who wanted Kirk? Take your guess.
Oh my
Which to me is just clear code for Spielman wanted Kirk, not Mike. And we know Mike from
So Mike has made some comments to people clearly. Like, Everton's not just making this up, right?
The combine comment was directly about Kirk, but before they signed Kirk, they clearly were going, he'd been told we're pursuing him. And you played the soundbite, Phil. Mike said, if you do this, you're forfeiting the right to sign other guys who can help us a lot. And that was clearly a shot at don't sign Kirk. Nobody else.
Listen, I mean, the Vikings are so all in on defense being the anchor for this. Like, if their defense isn't fixed, it's going to be hard for them to do anything meaningful, December, January, etc. So if they don't feel great about the right defensive ends, if they feel like, well, Weatherly's a guy, like he's good as a backup, but right now he's our best starter.
Right.
And if they feel like Everson Griffen can come in and at least give you some punch for like 400 or 500 snaps, I think you got to roll I think you have to just bring him. Hey, man, just cut out the Kirk stuff. He's our starting quarterback. If you don't like him, that's cool. Just stay in your defensive lane and get after the opposing quarterback, right? Like, I think, and plus Everson, he's a happy-go-lucky guy. Like, he can kind of play it off. Hey, I'm sorry,
Well,
I'm just kind of a wacky guy.
So he came back the same day, and clearly he got a call from somebody, right? He came back the same day, and here's his final tweet after that thread. His final tweet, and I'll read it slowly because it's important to process it. I'm sorry for posting that about Kirk. It's not right for me to call people out. I apologize for hurting him. I'm very grateful and thankful. Never did he say, I made it up.
Well, no,
about
he feels
Kirk.
that way.
Everything
he
said was accurate.
He feels that way.
He not only feels that way, but if you take out the Kirk his ass stuff, he's basically citing facts.
Have any players ever tweeted Tom Brady his ass? Russell Wilson is ass.
I'd be hard pressed to find a tweet that says a quarterback is ass.
Even Aaron Rodgers. I feel like he's kind of a tough guy to get along with, but people respect him enough to not say things like that.
But I think, Phil, I think you nailed it. I think that Mike watches these practices, at which the offense is missing some important guys, but also Kirk has looked, since the quarantine, has looked terrible in practice. And I think more and more Mike thinks to himself, if we're going to win, it's defense. And I'm not going to worry. If the quarterback's not going to worry about the team and me, which he's not, then I'm not going to be concerned about his feelings.
Yeah. So we can, and I know you have a million notes, and we can also get to some more of your notes tomorrow, but like, what are like a couple other things that are standing out to you this week at Vikings practice between these first two preseason games?
I attended practice yesterday. Christian Darrisaw walking circles around the field very slowly as the team practices.
Just dragging his leg behind him.
No, I mean, he's just walking like he's 78. Like Patrick Royce, he has more spring in his step right now than Christian Darrisaw does.
Hey,
but I mean,
I had hernia surgery about 14 years ago.
Yeah, I'm not making fun of it.
I don't think it's not hernia though, right? It's
core muscle, but it's close. It's close.
Okay,
it's a groin, so it's close.
Why did you have to get hernia surgery in your 20s? What'd you do?
So I feel like I got duped. I had some like a muscle strain, and I almost feel like
duped.
I almost feel like I didn't need the surgery, but the doctor was like, "Oh yeah, looks like we got to put a little something in there, a little mesh."
You didn't go to Dr. James Andrews for a second opinion on this hernia surgery?
No, I feel like I didn't really need the hernia
just
surgery.
Like mesh in you?
Well, they put like a mesh, like I don't know what you call it, like a mesh little like.
We got to go in there with a shoelace and tie that sucker up before it falls apart.
What the hell?
Yes, and it does. I don't get like I don't set the metal detectors off, so it must not be that big. But yeah, I kind of feel like they duped me a little bit.
Last thing for the notes as far as injuries go. Justin Jefferson did some individual work. He's not doing teamwork, but I'm fine with that. Like as long as he's prepared for September 12th, that's fine. Anthony Barr though remains very sporadic in how much he's practicing. He didn't practice yesterday and came out of, I'm assuming, the training room late in practice. And Zimmer alluded to something is going on. Now, I'm going to give you some completely reckless speculation because I heard this third hand, but I'm going to tell you what I heard.
Reckless speculation.
Somebody brought up that it's a groin issue that he's dealing with, which if that's the case, one, he shouldn't be practicing. That's fine. But two, it concerns you a little bit because those can definitely, if they aren't handled right, linger. I've been assuming the entire time that it's the torn pec again because he tore the pec in week 2 of last year, missed the rest of the season. But as Dex will tell you, when Dumba tore his pec in the fight against Matthew Tkachuk of the Flames a couple of years back, like for him to get back at full strength, like arm usage, what, Dex? It took a year and a half, right? Like
yeah,
it took a torn pec.
He was not the same player for a long time.
So I'd almost prefer it be a groin than the torn pec is still a problem, because if that's the case and this goes the same path as Dumba and you're playing football, that could be a problem too. So I've got far more concerns about Barr. I'd say if I had to rank them, I would say Barr 1, just because of his importance to the team. Darrisaw 2, you like him to play, but he is a rookie. And the third one would be Jefferson, because hopefully he'll be just fine.
Well, the good news is John Cena tore his pec about 12 years ago and came back like 4 months later for the Royal Rumble, and then I think won it. So
he did. It was epic Royal Rumble, yeah.
So it really shouldn't take that long if John Cena can come back and win the Royal Rumble and beat 29 other men, throwing men over the top rope. Then I think Anthony Barr can suck it up and play some football. Okay.
All right. Okay.
Just gonna throw that out there.
That's great. I bring my notes to the table and I get WWE thrown back in my face.
No, these
expect
are
nothing
good.
less, dude.
These are good.
Yeah.
And you can find Judd's videography on the Score North TikTok and Instagram accounts. We're almost to 1,000 followers on TikTok, so thank you guys for jumping on as we just act like idiots on that channel. And Daily Vikings Entertainment here. We just want a Super Bowl before we all die. That's all we ask for here on Purple Daily, presented by Surly Brewing Company. We'll see you guys tomorrow.